presents Intimate Conversations with Talitha Kume, and I am your host, Talitha Kume, and we would like to welcome you to our show. And I want to start off with the quote for the day, which is, "Don't waste your life trying to give back what was taken away." And we're coming to you from beautiful downtown Dallas, brought to you by none other than a Baycott Company Productions. So today I'm joined with my special guest, LaToya Garrett, the storyologist, the
Yes.
content storyteller. Welcome to the show, LaToya.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So today's show is about losing your innocence. And I found another quote, LaToya, and I really wanted to use this quote as well because I kind of believe that it sums up your story. So
Okay.
it says, "She's got the eyes of innocence, the face of an angel, a personality of a dreamer, and a smile that hides more pain than you could ever imagine." So would you say that that's you?
Yeah,
Would you?
definitely.
Really? So that sums you up
To a T.
completely? Wow.
Yeah, because people do say that. They say you are always smiling. I'm like, you do not know what's going on.
Yeah, like they
Yeah.
don't know your story.
They don't know
And
it.
so I'm glad that I'm really glad that you came to share it today. So tell us a little bit about your backstory, your childhood growing up, and where would you say your pain came from? Like, where would you say your pain began?
Well, I mean, I grew up in a single parent home. You know, my dad was not around.
Okay.
My dad paid like 3 months of child support, and
Oh,
he was
wow.
out of
And
there.
then he
Like,
was gone, like
yeah.
ghosted.
So, and we lived in the same city. So, like, my dad didn't come around so much that the dog that I had, when he would come around, my dog tried to kill him.
Wow.
Like, 'cause
Because she didn't recognize
she didn't
him. Yeah,
recognize
okay.
him. So yeah, it was just my mom. I lived with her and my grandmother. So I was a loner child. Like, I was bullied in school. I didn't have real friends. I was just to myself.
Wow.
And so I think what came for me, the pain that came for me, was when I was 5. That was the first time when I started to lose myself. And that's when my grandmother died. Because she
Okay.
was like, she was my rock. I could go to her for anything.
Yeah.
And when I lost myself completely was around the age of 7 when I got molested. Yeah,
Wow.
by my cousin's grandfather.
Your cousin's grandfather.
Yes.
So you were 7 when that happened?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was he a really older man, or was he?
He was an
in
older
his-
guy.
Really
Yeah.
older. Okay.
I mean, I can't really just pinpoint it, but visually, I would say he was about 50 something, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was the first time I ever even spent the night somewhere.
Uh-huh.
Like, it still affects me to this day to a certain degree because
Uh-huh.
I don't do sleepovers. Like, I
Wow.
never threw a sleepover party for any of my kids, and they're grown.
Wow.
Never. So
And at that point, if you said you didn't do sleepovers, that was your first sleepover. You were at your cousin's house.
I was at her house because,
Okay.
like I said, I didn't have friends. I didn't go anywhere,
Okay.
and people didn't come over like that. But that night, I think she had a birthday party or something.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember, but yeah, I ended up spending the night at her house, and yeah, he molested me, and I was like, no, and that, like I said, 7. I'm 42 now, so that just do the math.
None of the other kids were around. Like they weren't.
Everybody was asleep. It was visual. Like,
Uh-huh.
it was a room. It was a room off to the side, and I remember him coming in the room. And it was like 2 beds that were stacked. Like, it was 2 beds in different areas, and they were stacked on top of each other. So it was a real tall bed.
Okay.
And I remember him coming in. It was right by the bathroom, and it was just crazy.
So and it was just you and her.
It
Just
was
you and
me,
your
her,
cousin.
and there was a couple of other kids, but they were all sleeping.
And so that's my question.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think? Like, is there it? I don't know the mind of a pedophile.
Right.
But I'm like, what made him choose you out of what I'm
Well,
saying? That's the question.
as I got older, I found out that he had been molesting his grandkids all those years. Like,
Okay.
one of them, she swore men off completely. Like, she's really out of there. She's gone. And the other one had like a lot of children. So he had been messing with them for years. So I
Okay.
guess he thought it was
So
okay.
he just wanted to
for him-
acclimate you to the
Yeah.
program.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that was the defining moment, that when I really lost myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 7 years old,
Yeah.
you're walking around keeping that, and what happened after that?
Well, I mean, I've always been the type of person that speaks my mind,
Uh-huh.
but I don't like to ruffle feathers, if
Okay.
that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I did tell my mom what
Uh-huh.
happened, and it was crazy because my mom was like, she took me around the corner to confront him. Like, I literally had to say what I just told her, and I got scared because
Yeah.
I'm like, this man, he already just told me that if I say something, then I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So I'm standing there, and she's like, tell him what you told me. And I'm just, I couldn't say it. So she was like, you're a liar, and blah, blah, blah. And when I get home, I'm going to beat you. And she was apologizing to him, saying, I'm sorry she did this. So I'm feeling like really crazy. So when we get to the house, literally, she made me go outside, get some switches. They had little thorns on them. It was 3 of them. And she twisted them together, and she whooped me.
Are you serious?
Then she let her play brother.
Her play brother.
Yeah,
Okay.
so somebody that she was really cool with, she called him brother. He turned around and whooped me too. Then she whooped me once more, sent me to bed. And the whole time that I was in the bed crying, I was thinking like, how could she let him whoop me? And my cousin told me, not that cousin that you know, who's
That you went
grandfather.
over,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was
right.
another cousin. She was telling me that he had been messing with her, and she was his stepdaughter. So it's like, you let a molester whoop me because a molester molested me. So I felt some type of way about that, but I couldn't say that because
Right, you
that
were
was something she
7.
told me in confidence.
Wow.
Yeah. So that really, it changed my image about family and men. Like, I was just like, I couldn't do it.
So, okay, so that happened. How did you view your mom after that? Like, what kind of relationship did you and your mom have after her thinking that you lied because you were afraid to say? I mean, like, I I can't understand it. Like,
Yeah.
what?
You know what? I think because me and my mom was really close,
Uh huh.
but I think that was the moment that started our love-hate relationship.
Okay.
You know, because we were really close before, and growing up, me and my mom always bumped heads. We loved each other, but we hated each other. Like, I didn't get the I love yous from her.
Okay.
You know, my mom used to tell me some crazy stuff,
Uh huh.
like she should have aborted me, things like that. You know,
Right.
so we
And that
we
was when she was angry, I'm assuming?
yeah, she would
Okay.
say stuff, and you know, I mean, she just told me I would never be nothing and all that. So all of that, you know, we just bumped heads, and I think I had resentment towards her because she didn't believe me. Because that was the first time. The second time it
Right.
happened, same, pretty much the same thing. It wasn't as she didn't do as big of a drastic thing to me. She didn't whoop me, but the fact that she didn't even, it was like she didn't acknowledge the fact that I had been touched.
Okay, hold on. Hold on.
Yeah.
So, it happened at 7, and then it happened again?
At 12. Somebody else, somebody totally different.
Okay.
Yeah, it was my brother's dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your brothers. So it's a stepbrother?
No, this is my real brother. We're
Okay.
10 years apart.
So your real brother's dad, you guys had different dads?
Yeah, different
Okay.
dads. Yeah. Ain't my deadbeat dad. You know, and he was
Yeah.
around, you know, taking care of his child, of
Right.
course. But yeah, they were engaged to be married at the time.
Okay, so your brother's dad was engaged to be married to your mom.
To my mom.
Okay.
And you know, she was in the. I remember it. It was so crazy. Like, it's so crazy how you can visualize things.
Yeah.
She was in the living room watching TV, and I was in her bed sleeping in the middle of the bed, and he came in drunk. And I was, you know, like I said, I was asleep, and he was on the floor, and I felt something going up under the cover, and you know, touching my private parts. And
Right.
I sat up in the bed, like, what is going on? And he was down there. He was like, and I was just like, what the what? You know, so I'm sitting there. I probably spaced out because when my mom came in, she was like, what's wrong with you? And I was like,
Was he still in there? when
yeah,
your
he
mom
was
came
sleeping.
in?
He was on the floor sleeping. Well, I guess at that time he probably was pretending to be asleep, but he was on
Okay.
the floor
Okay.
sleeping.
Yeah.
And she was like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, and she kept looking at me. She's like, what's wrong? And I was like, and she told me to come here. So when she told me to come here, she took me into the kitchen. And we sat at the kitchen table. She kept asking, found out I was like, he was touching on me, you know, and I told her
Yeah.
what he did. So she woke him up and beating on him and getting him out of his sleep. And it's like, what you do to my daughter? And, you know, of course,
Right.
he's like, I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing. And the fact of the matter is, okay, I didn't know whether to be grateful or
That
angry.
That she believed you that time?
Yeah, you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
Because the fact was they were engaged to be married. They didn't break up. I mean, they didn't. She didn't break up with him. She just called off the engagement. So I was like, what's
So
the
you
point?
you still had to live in the house with this man.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was just
Gosh.
like, you might as well marry the man. I mean, y'all still together. I still see him. I have to ride in the car with him. He's still in the room. He's still in the house. So
But that incident that incident stopped him from doing it again.
Yeah, he didn't touch
Okay.
me again.
Okay.
He didn't touch me again.
Okay. So
Yeah.
she made sure of that.
Mhm.
Okay. Gosh, this is a lot. This is a lot,
Yeah.
LaToya. So question is, how do you feel like, I know you were saying before, how do you feel like those incidents really, really affected how you deal with men? I mean, like, really affected. Like, what goes through your mind now dealing with a man, or what back then, or whatever, when you started
Mhm.
dating, what was going through your mind after going through those incidents?
I think it not only affected me with men, it affected my whole life
Okay.
because for one, because I was bullied, because I didn't really have anybody to talk to that would believe me,
Yeah.
I wrote stories. I would
Okay.
always write stories, write myself to these fancy places, and
Yeah.
I was a vampire in one story, kind of like Blade, but I was the female version of her. Like, I
Mhm.
would write these really outlandish Disney adventurous stories to get myself out of the situation. And as I got old, after I got bullied for some time, as I got older, I started fighting back because I was angry, and I'm like, I'm not gonna let you punk me. I'm not gonna let men take from me. So I was always fighting,
Mhm.
and that's not who I am, but that's who I had to be. Somebody totally different, because I felt like every time I let my guards down and showed myself, people take
People took
advantage of it.
advantage of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So as I got older, men, I didn't trust them. It was in my mind. I was like, what can I get from you? You will never get 100% of me, but I'm going to take from you. And I had this, I guess, pimp mentality to where I'm going to, hey, you give it, I take it, but you ain't getting nothing in return. And I was like that for a long time. I didn't like closeness. Like, I had a long distance relationship with a guy,
Mm-hmm.
and I was okay with that because you didn't have to touch me. So that was the relationship. That was the first relationship that I guess I can say I took seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And that was after pretty much I had my kids. Every guy that I had my kids with, I just wanted the child. I didn't want the guy.
Wow.
Yeah, so
And then sex for you, how was that? Mentally, did you have to take yourself away from the
I
situation?
did. I was
You,
always checked out.
yeah,
Like,
like,
I never really just got into it for
mm-hmm.
the, I guess, for the feeling,
Yeah,
the connection. I
right.
got into it to get what I needed to get out of it.
Which was children,
Yeah,
because you wanted
children
children.
and
Okay.
whatever else.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I had one guy tell me, I had one guy tell me before, that I treated him like he was the girl and I was the guy.
Oh wow.
And I was like, I'll call you when I need you again. Because I didn't, that's what it was for me. I didn't care.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, even, like I said, I had this mentality that you can get out there, do what you do. I don't care. We're not in a relationship. And hey, we can just kick it. That was my, that was my MO. So when I got into a relationship with this, long distance relationship with this guy,
Uh
I
huh.
ended up getting my first tattoo. That's the only tattoo I've ever gotten. And I was I had planned on marrying him,
Hmm.
but as I started to, I won't say find myself at that moment because I still didn't really understand what I was going through. But as I started to see things differently, like something don't this don't feel right. Does life have to really be this way?
Yeah.
I broke off the engagement because I wanted something different. That's when I started to really start exploring things.
And
I
trying
still
to
hadn't
really.
got out of it, but it
Yeah.
was
But
exploration for me.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, girl, man, I can see why you're a storyologist. Your story, man, is just
Yes.
it's just crazy. But I want to take a break,
Okay.
so we're gonna take a break real quick after so we can hear a word from our sponsors, and we will be right back, and we'll get back to LaToya's story. If you're just tuning in, welcome back to Intimate Conversations with Talitha Kume, and I am your host, Talitha Kume, and we are talking to LaToya Garrett, the storyologist, and we were deep in conversation about her story, which is like blowing my mind that she's able to sit here with a straight face and recall
Ooh,
all of
take
the
a lot of
incidents,
healing.
yeah, all of the incidents that you've
Yes.
gone through. So, with the healing process, what I want to know with, I think you said you had a bout with domestic violence a little bit too
Several
when you were telling me
bouts.
that before. So,
Yeah,
um, with the domestic violence, do you feel like um that you unconsciously or subconsciously chose those type of men
I do.
so that you do you?
Yeah,
Okay.
now that when I started reflecting back on things and
Mhm.
how my life was going, yeah,
Okay.
I had to understand and own the fact that I was attracting that
You were attracting those
because
type of men.
whatever was going on with me, I hadn't
Right.
dealt with.
And you
Yeah,
said you were fighting back at that point. So do you think that you were like, okay, so
right.
we in a relationship, if you do something, I'm taking all of my aggression
Yes,
out on
on
you
you,
because
right?
I'm
Because I hadn't
angry. You
dealt
had
with
all
it,
that anger. Yeah.
and it was like you being a bully.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
did at the same time. It's like you're taking from me too.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, like
Okay.
I was in a domestic violence situation several times with my ex because I was married.
Uh-huh.
I finally did get married to one
Okay.
guy, but it lasted a year and a half.
Okay.
So go figure. He
Yeah.
shot at me a couple of times.
Shot. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. So that was a crazy. He never hit me physically,
Uh-huh.
but he did shoot at me, and then he cheated on me with his ex girlfriend. Got
Okay.
her pregnant.
Wow.
But the main relationship that I was in that was domestic violence was like 5 years, and during that time, I mean, we fought like two dudes. And a friend of mine, she told me, she said, you got to get out of that because you're gonna kill him and he's gonna kill you. Somebody's gonna be in prison, somebody's gonna be in the grave.
Yeah.
Because we fought that hard, and it was like the first time he hit me, because it was about a year in before he
Yeah.
physically put his hands on me.
Before you showed
I
that
was just
side.
like, what in the, like what is, I didn't understand it. But later on down the line, I realized he was on he was insecure. It was a
Okay.
lot of
Yeah.
things, and I was insecure.
Mhm.
And I had to understand that that's what it was. I was attracting insecure men because I was insecure myself. I didn't have no identity. I didn't know who I was,
Yeah.
and they didn't either.
Wow.
So yeah, it was very violent.
So, fast forward to once you started, like you were saying, you started to kind of discover yourself after
Mhm.
you decided to break off the
Mhm.
engagement with the guy, the long distance relationship.
Mhm.
So, what steps, like what physical steps did you take to really sit back, take a look at yourself, realize, you know what, I'm still broken from that 7 year old,
Mhm.
from that 12 year old, and try and figure this out. And be like, hey, I need to get myself together for me.
Yeah, and that's what it was. It was
Hmm.
That's the question I said.
Yeah.
What do I want for me?
Okay.
Like I've been living my life based on what other people think
Yeah.
I should be or who I should be.
Right.
I don't even know who I am.
Okay.
Like I used to joke to my kids. This was recently. I'm like, I don't know if I like red bottoms because I ain't never had a chance to buy any.
Hmm.
Like I have never lived on my own as an adult because I had my first child 3 days before I turned 18.
Okay.
So I've never explored LaToya. And even though each relationship got better and better because I was growing,
Hmm.
the point that done it for me, I was like, do I want to die like this?
Hmm.
Do I want to leave this earth going through this, what I'm going through? Do I want to keep feeling this way? Do I want to be empty, lonely, not knowing who I am?
Yeah.
And that was the moment that I started just discovering. And
Hmm.
I used to tell myself if I learned one new thing about me every day, at
Hmm.
the end of the year, I would know 365 new things. And that's what I started doing. I started reading more, which I've always been a reader, but I started reading like self help books and
Yeah.
personal growth books and started to be around people that were going places because I've
Hmm.
always been around people that didn't want nothing.
Okay.
They didn't do anything. So I just started focusing on me a little bit. And it's still a challenge to this day, but I feel like I give myself more me time than I used to.
Okay.
hmm
Even with the children around.
Even with the
And well,
children,
you said they're grown
they're
now, so it's
grown, but
kind of
they
a
still
little bit
depend
easier.
on
Yeah, of
me.
course.
And
Yeah.
like I told them, I'm at the point to where I'm doing me now.
Yeah.
So hey, it's a lot of no's coming
Yeah.
out of my
Tell them
mouth.
get with it. I know your
Yeah,
kids like, Mama,
they are
I
not
want the
used to
old
it.
mama back.
They are not used
Yeah.
to it, but they're okay with it. They're like, Mom, we're so proud of you because you're
Yes.
taking your power back.
Yes. Taking control of your
And it
life.
feels good. It's like it's always a work in progress, but I get up every day looking forward to something
To a
new.
new day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because every piece I take back, that's another part of me that becomes whole
And
again.
it's a beautiful feeling.
Yes,
So, do you believe in the importance of seeking a counselor or a therapist?
I do.
And the second part to that question is, some believe that faith is all that's necessary when dealing with past emotional or psychological hurts.
hmm
Do you believe that? Do you believe that faith is the only thing that's necessary for you to
No,
get. You know what I'm saying?
because you know how people say faith without works is dead.
Right.
It's absolutely correct. It's like almost you're asking other things or other people to go harder for you than you go for yourself.
Hmm.
If that makes, I hope that makes sense.
Okay.
It's like if you want something, you got to go for it.
Okay.
So praying and doing all of that and chanting or whatever you do
Hmm.
is not going to get you what you need to be,
Okay.
get you what you need to get.
Okay.
You have to put some action behind it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you would say that if I'm in a broken state, or I'm just at my wits end and I'm trying to figure this thing out, that I would
Mhm.
possibly seek out a counselor,
Yeah.
or even if it's a counselor of faith.
Right.
Like I know a lot of times, I know a few years before, I went to a counselor, a Christian counselor,
Mhm.
because that's kind of what I wanted her to kind of help me based on the Bible,
Yes.
because that's where I was.
Mhm.
But I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah, yeah.
I really love the fact that I was able to talk out loud to someone,
To
so
say
they
it.
can listen
Yes.
to me, and then I could hear myself talk.
Saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah,
If you hear yourself
sometimes.
saying stuff,
Yes,
it's like,
absolutely. Like, did I
really?
say that?
Yeah, like did that really come out my mouth?
Did I mean that?
And as
Hmm.
far as like the faith, like I ran from that a long time because once again, somebody else's identity.
Yeah.
I grew up a Christian because my mom was a church musician,
Okay.
and so I always had questions
Hmm.
about expansion when it came to my beliefs.
Christianity.
And I recently came out the spiritual closet because I tell people I'm more spiritual versus religion.
Okay.
I believe in God, yes I do, but I
Uh-huh.
believe there's so much more to it.
Okay.
And that was another turning point for me to discover myself when I started to expand my spirituality
Right. And research and get to know things for
for
yourself,
myself.
instead of
Yeah.
just accepting your parents or your grandparents'
Yes.
religion. And
Yeah.
I know a lot of us are starting to do that. We're starting to
Yeah.
kind of question some things. And
Yeah.
we're like, okay, well, I believe
Why
in
is
God,
this?
and
Mhm.
Grandma said this, and Mama said that, and
Right.
Big Mama said this,
Right.
but we really need to study to show ourselves approved, which I'm told
Exactly.
all the time.
Exactly.
So yeah, I get
Because
it.
you have
I
to, you
get
do,
it.
you
Yeah.
have to own it. Because at some point in time, it's like it's okay to take words from other people,
Yeah.
but go and look at it for yourself. Go seek it for yourself.
Yeah.
Compare your notes and make your own decision. Yeah.
So after all of that, LaToya, and I know I really wish we could sit here and talk all night, but I know we
Right.
can't. What do you think you still struggle with? What are some of the things you're still struggling with now,
Just
even
really.
after all of this self reflection, and being 42 and
Uh huh.
owning your truth,
Right.
and
Right.
are there some things you
Truth
still
is
struggle
perception
with?
to
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
and to me, I'm still a work in progress.
Okay.
I still struggle with accepting me
Okay.
on some levels. I still struggle with my worth.
Hmm.
Sometimes it shows up in my business when I don't want to charge people,
Yeah. Charge people,
things
but
like that. Yeah.
hmm
Even at my job, I'm like, I feel like I could get a corporate job or, a higher paying job, but I'm like, then at the same time, I'm like, I don't know if I could get it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that worth. I still deal with that, and I just have to feel into it and own it. Because I used to run from my feelings when didn't feel good. Now I look it in the eye and say, okay, what is it that I'm feeling and why? That's been helping me as well.
What about relationships? How are you with relationships or friendships? Because you said when you were
Yeah.
younger you didn't have any
I
friends.
didn't.
So it
Um,
has that gotten better? Are you able to,
it,
did you get you a good girlfriend? You
it
know.
I thought I did at
Hmm.
one point in time. I had a couple of friends that I just released a
Hmm.
couple of months ago.
Wow.
Um, because I was looking for friends for the wrong reasons,
Okay.
and when I understood that, I had to release those friends. But I will say that I have grown when it comes to connection.
Okay.
I'm learning, and it's getting good. I'm learning how to trust people.
Okay.
My relationships, I just got out of I would say crazy relationship, but one of the best ones I've been in about 6 months ago. So I'm learning that what I want and need in a relationship,
Right.
and I'm okay with being single right now. And I have never said that before.
Well, do it.
I have never
ma'am.
said that, and like, cause
Do
I'm
it,
I'm
ma'am.
looking for me, and it's fun
Yeah.
because I said the next relationship that I get in, I don't want to go through that crap no more.
Yeah.
So as long as I get to know me more, I feel like I will attract the right relationship.
And so many women I believe, really need to hear that part. They
Yes.
need to
You
be
don't have to rush it.
comfortable. Yeah, they need to be comfortable with themselves. Like I was saying on the show when I was talking about myself, I had never been without a borefriend. I was like,
Mhm.
here, I got a boyfriend,
Right.
boyfriend, need a
Right.
boyfriend, need a
Right.
boyfriend, need a man, or whatever.
Okay.
And there was one time where I actually read a book by
Mhm.
Michelle McKinney Hammond.
Mhm.
It was called The Diva Principles. I will never forget it. And she really was teaching single women how to be satisfied with who
They
they
are.
are and how
Yes.
to start dating themselves.
Yes.
And a lot of us are not
Yes.
learning that.
Yes.
We're not learning that. We're not learning that either in the church. We're learning to be so independent. When a guy comes along,
Mhm.
we too independent. We
Yeah.
ain't got time for him.
Right.
Or we're learning, hey, you got to be married. Go find your Adam. Let your Adam find you.
Right.
And find your
But
rib
but
and all
who
sorts
is
of kind of
Adam
stuff.
to you?
Right, right.
Who is he?
And we don't even know.
Right, because we don't know ourselves.
Right. And so I
Mhm.
believe that, maybe we'll talk about that a
Yeah.
little later about
Yeah.
getting some type of
Most definitely.
workshops and stuff like that for these
Yeah.
single women, because I really have a heart.
Yeah.
I really have a heart, even though
I know
I'm
you
married.
do.
I'm married. I have a heart.
Yeah.
I have a heart for single women, so that we can just we can be ready and be prepared
Right.
when our husband comes. So we don't have to, like you said, we
Yeah.
don't have to go through all that junk.
Yeah.
Because we've already been through it.
We
I know
already
what
been
I
through it.
want. I know who I am. So by the
Yes.
time he comes, I'm just complimenting him and he's complimenting me.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yep. And that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'm single, but I'm not lonely.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Man.
Because I have
A lot of
me.
people can't. Yeah, a lot of people
A
can't
lot
say
of people
that.
can't say that. And, even when I was going through the situations of going through the different guys and treating them the way I treated them,
Yeah.
deep down I wanted a relationship.
Yeah.
But I didn't trust. So now I'm at the point to where I want a relationship, but I don't want it right now.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that because I'm like, LaToya has some things to do.
Girl, you better do it.
Okay.
Speak
And
it,
I am
speak
doing it.
Speak it,
I
speak
am.
it. So
Yes.
tell our viewers what you can help with. Like, before we get out of here, tell them exactly what you do and how you help writers like myself or business owners like myself. And give them your
Yes.
handles too.
Well, personally, I don't like to put myself in a box, but
Okay.
what I can do is I don't want to say find yourself
Uh huh.
because you're not lost.
Yeah.
Everything you need is inside of you. So I love taking people on a journey to help them discover who they are
Yeah.
to the core.
Mhm.
And then taking that and just really activating their creative geniuses and letting them just shine through their creativity, expressing that. And most people say that I help them if they're struggling with their words, their promotions, things like that. I'm able to help them come up with the right words, the right strategy, the right content to help them talk to their audience.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter.
More of a marketing type. You come.
I
From
wouldn't call. I was
and
calling
you say,
it
right,
marketing.
You say you don't want to be put in a
Yes.
box, but if you had to sum it up a little bit, and I said, hey, go to my girl LaToya. She does.
Content strategy for
Okay.
creative artists and writers.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's pretty much
There
what
we
you
go.
do. So
Yes.
give them your handles, please, ma'am.
Yes, you can catch me on Instagram, Facebook at This Is LaToya. This is LaToya. I just recently changed it because I am LaToya.
Okay.
So
Girl.
This Is LaToya.
I am Talita.
I have a website that is in the making. It's LaToyaGarrett.com. So definitely check it out. Follow me because I love to give tips. I love to motivate people,
Yeah.
and I want to help you find yourself. Correction, I want to help you discover who you are.
Yeah, and
Yes.
that's beautiful.
Yes.
From everything that you've gone through, for
Yes.
you to still be able to want to give
Yes,
back.
and it's all it is a story.
Yeah.
It's just I want people to own their story
Yeah.
and share their stories,
Yes.
however it looks, however it sounds, because nobody can tell you your story is wrong.
Yeah.
Nobody,
No.
because it's yours.
And nobody can tell your story better than you.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly, and we have to stop allowing other people to tell our stories. It's time for us to tell ours. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so
Yes,
much,
thank you
LaToya,
for having
joining
me.
me. It was awesome.
Yes.
And we're a little chilly, but
Freezing.
we made it through.
Yes.
We made it through. So join us on our upcoming fourth Thursday special Thanksgiving show, November the 22nd, when we'll have special guest Coach Cole Phillips. And if you guys, we're looking for guests for our show that are willing to come and share their stories,
Yes.
share their trials, their obstacles, stories of tragedy or triumph, so we can just kind of help you redirect, refocus, repurpose, and walk this thing out. So if
Yes.
that's you, email us at intimateconversations@gmail.com or call us at 469-530-7259. So until next time, have an intimate conversation with God first, your creator, and allow him to heal and direct and guide your path. And then you'll start living on purpose. And we're just here as a support system to help you guys on your journey. And remember, tears are words that need to be written. So share your story. Someone may need to hear it. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
My whole life seems like I've been searching, always coming up short, much less than perfect. But everything I need is all inside me. Before you walk, you gotta crawl. Now I'm standing tall.